Hey there, Internet. Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars and Keeve YouTube channel. In this video, we're going over the Fanttik BF10 PRO. I paid $139.99 for this at the time. It is on Black Friday sale for $101 right now. And that's not a bad deal because it's a newly listed product, so it's never been on like sales before. But I would expect that every time that there's a big sale time coming around, this will probably be on sale. At $139.99 as a portable blower, they have competition, which is Ryobi here. And this is $149.99 with the 4 amp hour battery that comes with it. So comparable price wise from an MSRP standpoint, these are very close. I didn't even use the high performance batteries with this because they make this even better. This is the original battery that comes with this, the 4 amp hour, just regular Ryobi battery. So we have our scale here. The Ryobi with the 4 amp hour battery weighs 3.6 pounds. When we weigh the Fanttik, I want to do it with the nozzle guard because, like I said, that's going to make it pretty much the same. And if you actually want to do a comparable, they're very comparable. We have an unlock and a lock button, and this goes on here. Now, when you do this, the hand needs to be on this handle, this on here to get that to click. You hear that click? Weight-wise, 2.08 pounds with the nozzle on there. Lengthwise, I mean, we're pretty much there, right? I mean, this feels like we're out there air traffic controlling aircraft with our little cone thing, right? That's what it feels like.
It's McLean.
Christ. The Ryobi, even though it weighs 3 pounds compared to 2 pounds, this feels lighter in the hand than this. If you're holding like this where you're going to be doing your blowing, the top heaviness of all this area right here, it weighs on you. It has leverage on you. This, the weight, when you're holding in the grip, the weight is underneath your hand. There's very little weight up here. So when you're bending down, there's no weight right here. It's just a tube. All that weight, you know, from a fatiguing standpoint is, to me, much less. Now, from a full arm length, the weight of this, you can feel it here. You feel it here too, but you feel it in your wrist and your elbow. But it's not heavy. It's not. It's just the difference that I feel between the two. Because when I picked this out of the box, I thought this was heavier weight-wise. But the scale doesn't lie. It is lighter. It's just the way it feels in your hand. This might be good for blowing off a car hood or something. We'll find out. It has it's a small rubber tip. It's definitely not anywhere near what this is, because it's just like a fully pliable, like there's no accidents happening here with the plastic. You got lots of leeway. This one, you have plastic just here, like right at the tip area. So this extension goes here, locks in. This goes here and locks in. Now we have a lightsaber. Now this would help patio at an apartment complex, small town home, the front porch, something like that, just to kind of get in there. Maybe your garage, to do a light little, this right here is going to help with that. But the biggest thing for this video that I use both of these for would be for drying a car off. Now, Fanttik does not state any numbers outside of, you know, the battery, the weight, and that it has 80,000 RPMs. I'm going to tell you right now, RPMs don't mean jack. There are listings for Amazon products that have 960,000 RPMs, 200,000 RPMs. RPMs is only as good as the size of the fans, the weight of the fan blades, how well it works, how it can pull, how it can, you know, blow air. The RPMs really, truly, that's a number that means nothing. It means nothing. Now, Ryobi states 220 CFM and 140 miles an hour, which is very comparable to quite a few larger blowers as well. So before we get into testing, check the links below or the product tags for anything in the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hype points, if you feel I deserve them, you can throw some away. If not, I'll show you a small creator at the end of the video that you can support. Let's have some fun. Now, I'm going to say one thing before we get into it. None of these, and I don't think ever will, become a replacement for one of these, especially when it comes to full-size yard work or anything like that, full-size car stuff like that. You're not going to replace a monster like this with something this small until we get nuclear reactors on our blowers. First test, I have an IK ePhone Pro 2, brand new in the box here. As you can see, it is not empty. There's product in there. The good news is the diameters are pretty close and the lengths are pretty close for us to have a very, very comparable test, other than the Ryobi is a slightly wider opening. When you turn the Ryobi on, it's literally just a trigger and it is variable. So I can start out, I can just pull a little bit. Variable speed control with the Fanttik. If you push the button once on the power, you're going to get your green light. That's just telling you your battery, and that's going to go off really quickly. If you want it to be on, you have to hold the power button down. Then you hit it again to turn it off. Now you can just touch each time. And if you want to turn off, hold the power button down until the green light goes away. Now there are 3 different speeds, and this LED indicates that, but you cannot change those speeds while it's kind of in this standby mode. It has to be running, and you'll see it'll light up green. 1 push, yellow. 2 pushes, red. If you leave it in red and hit the off button while it's in red, when you push it again, it's going to stay in red. So I'm going to put it always in turbo mode. So I'm always going to have it in red. Now that's going to hurt battery life, but when we use this, I always use it in full mode anyway. All right, now I'm going to mark where this is here. And I'm going to put it about right here. I'm just going to mark that right there. All right, we got that far. And I'm going to try to line this up the same height as the Ryobi. And I'll use the Ryobi here so we can kind of have about the same. Here we go. So when it comes to the amount of power to push an object, which is a direct comparison of power, doesn't do much. Now, when we're dealing with water drops on a car, it's going to be different. I'm basically, since I believe that this is going to be more powerful, we're going to start with the Fanttik to see what it can do. All these are going. All right, they're still moving a little bit, but they're not really moving at all. Ryobi. Now, I want to make sure again that we do this as fair as a comparison as possible, because people seem to think I'm not. So if any of those I may have, who knows, I could have had the Ryobi close for this. So I'm going to put the codes side by side, and I'm going to run the Fanttik. Not bad, not bad. Now the Ryobi. Can we clean up the rest? Pretty big difference. Let's try to dig some of these leaves out of this groove here. Pretty stuck in there. Ryobi. Still a champ. So before we get to the drying of the hood over here, I want to go ahead and check decibel level. Now, ambient is 32.5. Now, the Fanttik, what we're going to do is I'm going to measure near my ear, and I'm going to have this as far away as I possibly can, because that is as far away as it is. I don't care decibel wise my neighbor across the street. Don't care. I care about my ears. I'm just gonna do it like this, okay? It'll be the same for both. Here we go. $77, $82, $85. The Ryobi. So about 82 decibels from that distance right there. And then, you know, when it was at its lower setting, about 70 decibels. But that doesn't do much. Sound carries differently. Some of these, like the Amazon one, the first one I did, this one. Holy crap. I'm just going to just real quick as a comparison. A 102 decibels. Main reason is all of the sound projects here. The Ryobi, the sound projects this way. This thing is just like, wow. That thing hurts your ears. This one is kind of the same as the Ryobi. The sound kind of goes that way. The 82.5 is a different sound. The 85 from the Fanttik is a much higher pitch. And with the Fanttik straight out, it does pull on you a little bit, but it's not bad. It doesn't feel bad. But when I want to blow down here, I have to turn my hand to go down, because when I'm like this, you know, it's not an easy move. Hold it more like this, more like a flashlight. But then when I want to go like this, I have to change my hand position again to more forward. So there's definitely, you know, some changing of hands to get the better ergonomics. All right, we just got our normal garden hose here. This is my Flexzilla gray hose. Yes, Flexzilla does come in gray. This is the color series. So much nicer. My Ely here with my Raincovo garden hose 2/4 inch quick disconnect. I have a quick disconnect at the end of the Ely too. It's like quick disconnect crazy here. And then I have the Keeve nozzle, which is just this little shower nozzle right here. That's going to give me this little effect that I'm looking for to kind of get this car coated in even beads. What better test than using a stopwatch to see how long it takes to evacuate this hood? Now, this is going to be very subjective, because I don't know if I'm always going to be able to maintain the exact same distance, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it cleared as quick as possible. If that means having to hold this one here and the Ryobi back here, it's whatever it is, because the Ryobi has more power and can clear a bigger area by getting a little bit further back. This one I might need to be able to sweep a little bit better with this cone attachment here. About 33 seconds, and we've left some beads all over. Yes, we have. Once again, like I said, subjective. These could be beads that have it out for Fanttik. Who knows? 22 seconds, and the hood is 99% clean. The other one was maybe like 94. Now quick, I want to see with this attachment here, this little flat nozzle attachment, is it any better? Is it going to sweep better? Let's see. 34 seconds. I could see where that could be slightly better maybe. At the same time, I do think this way there was a lot less beads left on the hood though. We have a bunch of little beads up front, but no misses up here. All right, now with no nozzle at all. That is actually a little bit better at 30 seconds. And it evacuated and cleaned the hood a lot better. So without the nozzle, I think it works a little bit better. And as you see, when it comes to Ryobi, you cannot compare it that way because even when you take the nozzle off, the snout is still the same size as the fitting. It just cones it a little bit. So I do want to come over here and redo this test at the very end here without the cone on it. Is it better without the cone? The cone should focus and do a little bit better, but I've noticed even with this one right here, when I took the cone from the Fanttik and kind of covered it up, it created a weird pressure zone right here. It's not doing anything. Like it's not sucking any air. It's not blowing anything versus this. You know, see the difference? This one performs pretty well as well. It's just ear-piercingly loud. So let's see here. Let's move it a little bit. It moved it a little bit better, but. All right, so we've basically used them the same amount, kind of the whole time. I do think we used the Fanttik a little bit longer when it came to the car hood because we used the flat nozzle and we used just without the nozzle versus the Ryobi here. And the Ryobi, when I pushed the battery button, we were at 3 bars of usage. On the Fanttik here, we are about half on the batteries. And the Fanttik is a little warm on the handle, but it's like, you know, lukewarm. Now I'm going to do the Fanttik in turbo mode because that is what's closest to the power of this, which, you know, not as powerful. But if you were to use the lower or the middle, you're going to get much more battery life out of this. They do not state battery life. They say long battery life. That's all it says. It does not state any time frame or nothing. The Ryobi on their listing says 50 minutes, which is absolute BS to me. The with a 4 amp hour battery. I think that's if you're doing this the whole time. If you do that, 10 minutes. 12 minutes. If you see the video that I did the last review on this, about 10 to 12 minutes. About 7 minutes, 50 seconds. Now we do have to remember that this is sitting on a 4 amp hour battery, but when it comes to MSRP at 140, 150, we are in the same ball game. So based off the fact that it lasted maybe a minute or two, I think we did about 4 or 5 minutes of testing. If you want to say that, maybe we'll say it can last about 5 to 7 minutes on turbo mode, just best guess based off of what just happened here. This at 7 minutes, 50 seconds, plus that we're at between, like I said before, between 10 and 12 minutes. It's twice the battery power, so it should last twice as long, right? Now, is the Fanttik a good product? Absolutely. You saw it blew the leaves well. It cleared the car, takes a little bit more time. But the biggest difference between the two is the size. See how small that is versus this guy right here. When it comes to being in an apartment or an area where you don't have a lot of room, this, even with the accessories, is significantly less room used than the Ryobi. And the Ryobi is ugly, right? The Ryobi is ugly. Fanttik, they understood not too much yellow, just a few yellow accents right here, but mainly it just looks like a flashlight. That's pretty cool and it works pretty well. This is actually going to go in my upstairs area. I'm going to use it to clear these off to my front porch if I need any, and I'll bring the big blower up top for that. Just around the house, need it at the back porch. I think this will do pretty well for that. But if you need something to use all the time, drying cars all the time or certain cracks and crevices, this is what I'm going to go for all day long. Garage, this is what I'm going to go for all day long. So there you go. Don't forget the links below for anything in the video. And hype points, let me show you a small creator that you can support if you don't feel like giving me those hype points. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been looking for a little while. I can't find anybody. Either they haven't posted a video in the last 7 days, which you have to. They're not monetized or partnered with YouTube, which is another one. And they have to have less than 500,000 subscribers. Those 3 things. In the comments, make sure it's a channel that can get hype points, right? Check them out. Use your hype points, slide in the comments, see if you can give them hype points. If you can, list them in the description below. If you feel I deserve the hype points, obviously you can give them to me. But if not, like I said, they're free to you. They need to be given out. That helps us creators, especially smaller creators. So there you go. I'll see you in the next video. So when we weigh this, so when we wait, so before we get into the testing, check the links below. So before we get into testing, check the links below for, so before we get into the testing, check the links below for anything in the video. Don't forget to check the,